Hey guys, Chris here. This week I'm testing the 2017 Volkswagen Alltrack TSI SE 4-motion manual wagon. This has a 6-speed manual in it, not the DSG. Last week we were testing the 4-motion Golf Sport Wagon, and this is just a little bit of a change of pace. It's nice to get into a new Volkswagen with a manual transmission. And this Alltrack has some pretty cool features, and I kind of like the looks of it. I like the extra ride height that you get, but ultimately it's a very similar car to the Sport Wagon. So I just had my mountain bike in here, so I would have the seats folded down, but you get a ton of space, and there's even some more room under here where the compact spare tire is. You can fold the seats down on the sides here by pulling these buttons, which is very, very convenient. Back seat room is decent. With the seat set to my driving position, I'm about 5'10". I've got plenty of legroom back here, and you can see that there's this really nice sunroof area here where you can just basically see the whole sky. In some respects, it almost feels a little bit like a convertible. It's very nice if you're out traveling and going through a mountain pass, and you can look up and see a lot of cool stuff. Alright, so you guys probably already know the specs on this. 1.8 liter TSI motor with 6-speed manual transmission. We've said that. 170 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque, and a curb weight of around 3,400 pounds. So, not terribly lightweight of a vehicle. In this video, I kind of want to go over how this car puts the power down, what the manual transmission is like to drive, and just kind of my first impressions on this car while I've been using it this week. So, let's start off. Like all Volkswagens, it has a super light clutch pedal, feather light, as they say in the business. Nice reverse camera here, and you've got parking sensors. Very light steering at low speeds here. You can hear the reverse camera flipping back up into the tailgate there, or into the Volkswagen symbol. Now, I haven't really tested this Alltrack off-road yet, but I did have an opportunity to drive it through some fields and just kind of some dirt track, two-track situations in the country. And I didn't feel like I had any woes about ride height or ride clearance, which is nice. You can park this up and not worry about scraping the front end on curbs. And I think it's just kind of it's a cool car because it's just a little bit of a unicorn in the sense that it's a wagon. It's got a little extra ride height, and it comes with a manual transmission, and it's all-wheel drive. It kind of checks all the boxes. Torque feels pretty decent from about 2,000 RPM up. Again, this isn't a really fast or really powerful car. It is a little on the slow side, and you do have to wind it out to get some acceleration out of it. One thing I have noticed is the gears are spaced really tall, so you may not be shifting into the highest gear as much as you think. You may still need to access some of that power band. I believe at 70 miles an hour, we'll go on the highway here in a little bit, but at 70 miles an hour, you're cruising just a little bit above 2,000 RPM. The shifter has a nice high-quality feel to it. That's one of the first things I noticed when I got on this car is the shifter it's very typical Volkswagen, but it doesn't feel cheap. It's a little bit notchy, but also a little bit rubbery at the same time. It's a nice transmission to shift. It doesn't want to be hustled though, so if you're trying to power shift or get downshift really quickly, it can be a little bit cumbersome. really quiet engine. This 1.8 liter is very smooth, very refined. Nice turning radius there. Let's test some acceleration here. Red line's at 7,000 RPM. Pulls pretty smoothly up to red line. You get a little bit of power fall off towards the higher revs, but it's pretty linear power band. One thing I am impressed with is the handling is quite good. It's very predictable. Nice steering weight at the limit. So in 5th gear, you're about where Mark 6 Volkswagens used to be in 6th gear. And in 6th gear, at 65, you're at about 2,000 RPM. At 70, you're at around 2,200. Let's throw a cruise control on here. This does have the radar-guided cruise control, and I don't believe it has lane keep assist or anything like that. But the radar-guided cruise control does work quite well. If you hold this button, you can increase the speed in 5 mile an hour increments, and if you tap it, you can lower it in 1 mile an hour increments. There's a little bit of road noise at speed, but overall it's not too bad in here. I will say, like all Volkswagens these days, the sound system is really nice. I have kind of a preference for Volkswagen sound systems. I really enjoyed. That was one of my favorite features in my Mark 6 GTI when I owned it. This Fender is no exception. It's not excellent, but has a nice, powerful sound to it. Nice trebles, good midtones, and good bass. As you can see, fuel economy hasn't been too bad. I've been getting about 28 miles to the gallon on the readout since refuel, and I guess extended period is showing me about 28.4. I'd say about 28, and I've been driving a little bit aggressively, but nothing too crazy. One thing I will note is that on the highway, you do kind of need to shift down to 5th or 4th gear to really get any passing power out of this car. 6th gear is definitely a fuel economy highway cruising gear. You almost have to treat this like a 4 or 5 speed in some situations just because of how tall it's geared. Around town, you'll find yourself mostly cruising around in 4th or 5th and rarely even able to shift into the 6th because you just don't have any power. Let's give this entrance ramp one more shot here. Throttle response is pretty decent. There's a little bit of turbo lag, but not too bad. Nice high cornering speeds. Pretty adjustable at the limit. You can feel the stability control kind of keeping the front end in check there. Really not a lot of power out of corners on this, but you do feel that all-wheel drive system just giving you just a little bit more confidence. I'm sure in the winter or in low grip situations this would be pretty good to drive. Otherwise, pretty similar story with other Volkswagens in this class. This is just a little bit more expensive. You're paying a little bit of a premium for the Alltrack trim. I think it's cool. I've gotten some compliments on this car this week from Volkswagen enthusiasts or Wagon enthusiasts. This is, I think, maybe just a little bit more attractive and a little bit more sporty. It's got kind of a hiking shoe look to it if you compare it to the Sport Wagon. And yeah, this is a nice car. I think you probably can't go wrong with the DSG in this. If you do live in the city and you're going to be driving in a lot of traffic, I would probably recommend going with the DSG, because to keep this in the power band, you do have to do a little bit of work. The manual transmission does make you shift quite a bit, especially if you're going to be accelerating and decelerating a lot. And you may want to go with the dual clutch. You really can't go wrong with the DSG gearboxes these days. They're fantastic. I really enjoyed the one in the Golf Sport Wagon a couple weeks ago. A lot of nice features. I think it's very practical. It's a good size. It handles well. It rides well. I think it looks good. I like this red. This does have the halogen lights, so we're not quite getting the HIDs like we could, but that said, I think that's just fine. If you haven't already, check out my video on the Golf Sport Wagon. I'll link that at the end of this video. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'll be sure to include all the specs in the description, so you don't have to go Googling things, and so I don't have to remember all of them. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. I do videos like this with every test car that I get in, and you can follow what I'm up to on Instagram at thetopher2. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. There'll be more stuff like this coming out almost on a daily basis. I've been filming quite a few videos recently. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.